What is going on, Jerome's? What's going on, Poppies? Today is a fantastic day for the Vikings to take on the San Francisco 49ers in the second of three preseason games for the 2022 season. It is the only preseason game at home, friendly confines, historic U.S. Bank Stadium, in front of the home fans. Blah, 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 blah. It's going to be fun getting it done here, and it will be... It'll be a good day. It will, because even though a lot of people poop on the preseason, I think it's very important, especially for the middle and bottom of the roster guys, trying to make the team, trying to just put out some good tape in a game situation. Fully understand that. Plus, you know what's crazy? It's Kevin O'Connell's first home game as head coach of the Vikings. And yes, this game doesn't count, but just imagine what's going through his mind. 36 years young. Working his entire life, rising up through the ranks, rising up back on the streets, and then all of a sudden, he's that guy. He's a freaking head coach, and even though this is a preseason game, just him taking that all in, it's got to be really awesome. It's got to be freaking cool, man. Hey, let us know where you're watching from. I'll give a couple shout-outs, that's right. Also, if you want a question answered in the chat, couple bucks in the super chat, do that up. So earlier, the Vikings announced that 27 players, a whole lot of starters, basically the top third of the roster, is not going to play today. Essentially, every starter except for Armand for Watts, a couple of key backups as well, and visually zoom in and enhance. All right, so we did this earlier in the video, but everyone in red is out. The two in yellow are on the pup, Blake Prohl and Ryan Connolly. So yeah, like we said, basically everyone except for Armand for Watts is a starter on paper. They're going to be out, but I think this is going to be a really great, massive opportunity because the second team offensive line, which is going to be the first team now, left to right, is probably going to be I mean, it could be Udo. It could be Wyatt Davis at left guard. It could be Schlotman at center. It could be Ed Ingram, who I think is going to secure the starting right guard spot, as well as Blake Brandel at right tackle. Now, I think Brandel is going to be the swing tackle for the Vikings this season, but we shall see. And then Kellerman, he's going to be the question, man. So O'Connell has rotated who's been working with the twos every day at training camp. One day it's Mond working with the twos. One day it's Mannion. Now Sean Mannion started the first preseason game against the Raiders. Could it be Kellen Mond's season? Because I would love to see him working with the Vikings ones, working up against the Niners ones. So getting him as many reps as possible with as high of competition as possible. I think it's a smart move just to see if he can be QB2, because he had a decent couple days of practice, joint practice against the Niners, but can he secure his spot as the Vikings' true blue backup quarterback? Who really knows? Couple shout outs. Let's see here. Fort Lauderdale, we got Minneapolis in the house. We got Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Broken Arrow. That's right, man. Everyone, thanks for coming along, having a good time. Football-related activities, man. I understand preseason. It's whatever. A lot of these guys are not going to be in the league this season, but it's still football. That's right, man. And also, a big question is, why isn't Garrett Bradbury playing? I think it's more of a function of the rest of the first-team offensive line playing, because you generally want to play guys on the offensive line that are going to have chemistry. That's why you don't see a rotation. That's why you don't see goal line up offensive linemen. That's why you don't see sub-package offensive linemen, because you want to get used to working with the guy next to you. Now, if Bradbury is just out there with the twos, that doesn't really give you a great picture of what he could be with the first team offensive line. And also, you don't want to play Darisaw, Ezra, Brian O'Neill out there either if you're going to rest your starters. So that doesn't make sense. And you're not going to play Kirk Cousins unless you're putting your first team offensive line out there. And you're not going to play Jefferson unless Cousins is out there. That whole thing. It basically goes down a rabbit hole. Same thing, you're not going to play Dalvin unless you got the first team offensive line out there. So I think it's, well, conspiracy theory, man. Tinfoil hat. Maybe they don't want Bradbury to go out there and just get rocked, and they don't want to put any more bad tape because then it would really butt up against their decision. Because I do think that Bradbury is going to be the starter week one. I think that Chris Reed, with his elbow injury and the fact that he's not playing today, I just don't think there's going to be enough juice for him to overtake Bradbury week one. Now, if Schlotman comes out and just has a lights out game, both this week as well as against his former team, the Broncos, next Saturday in the final preseason game, Maybe, but probably not. Probably not. But I think that I'm overall I'm fine if Bradbury starts week 1. But if his performance isn't up to the standard, I want to see a quick hook. I want to see Chris Reed. I want to see Austin Schlottman potentially getting some work there. So there you go. Also, a couple more shout-outs. We got Reno. Love Reno, man. South Dakota. Marina, California. That's right. Eugene, Oregon. Home of Nike. Cedar Rapids. Either North Dakota or Notre Dame. One of the two. No. Austin, Texas. Illinois. Fargo. Mankato. Got Chippewa Falls. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. All right, so we had our 10 things that we're watching for. So this is from the preview video we put out on Friday. Will the starters actually play? No. We already got that answer. Can Mon do it again? I think that he can. I do think that Mon does have a little bit of a gamer quality to him in that maybe he's not the best in practice, but put him in a 100-mile-an-hour game situation where you're not overthinking things, like you do in practice, where it's just all about instinct and muscle memory, and you just get after it. I do think that he's one of those guys who just thrives like that. And Kyle Sluter was one of those as well. And to a degree, Tim Tebow was the ultimate gamer where he was absolute hot garbage in practice. Ed Ingram cemented at right guard 1. I think if he shows out well today, which I assume that he will, there's no reason why you should start Jesse Davis at right guard over Ed Ingram. Other than you pay Jesse Davis $3 million with $2.75 million guaranteed. I mean, Ed Ingram is your guy. You drafted him in the second round, and he showed extremely well, and I think he's the best option at right guard. Center. So since we're not going to see Bradbury, I do want to see Schlottman play well. I don't think Josh Sokol is going to get into the mix. Maybe he has a chance at the practice squad. But also, is it just going to be Schlottman and Sokol at the center spot? I mean, can Wyatt Davis get some center snaps one time? Why not? Pass rush. So the Vikings had 16 pressures and I think 4 sacks against the Raiders. And can the second team unit continue to get after it? Oh, Jimmy McGill. Oh, by the way, did you guys see the end of Better Call Saul? Final episode? Man, that's tough. That's tough. One of my favorite shows of all time was Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul was somehow better. I can't explain it. It's just amazing, man. But I will see another big game from T.Y. McGill, sort of a journeyman nose tackle. Had 2 sacks, did well against the run. I want to see him again jumping James Lynch, Oseize, Jalen Twyman, as well as the understudy edge rushers. Patrick Jones second. Can he have another great big game? Same thing with DJ Wanham. Can Janaris Robinson or Zach McLeod get something going, baby? Also, we got to see a Brian Asamoah play tonight. Love to see it, man. Also, the young corners, Booth, Evans, Chris Boyd, etc. I do think that Chris Boyd does have a chance to secure that 6th cornerback job. There you go. Let's see here. We're going to see a lot of Lewis Cine because you got Harrison as well as Cameron Bynum sitting today. So I think Cine could get use as both a free safety and a strong safety. Punt returner. That competition is going to be a little bit tough where I do think it's going to come down to ISM and the rookie Jalen Naylor. ISM has had some nice moments, and Naylor and also Burt Wilson is in that competition. Neither of them have really stepped up, but I think these reps in these final 2 preseason games are going to decide who is going to be back there fielding punts week 1. King Kenny and Ty Chandler. So Ty Chandler was listed as questionable with an injury, so it could just be King Kenny and Brian Koback, the UDFA coming out of Toledo. So the Vikings... Madison is also active, except, how much work is he actually going to get? Probably not a lot. So I do think that it's going to be the understudy running back game. And then, clicking buttons here, the wide receiver 5, 6, 7 competition. So the fact that the top 3 are out and your top receivers, being ISM, BC, Mitchell, Tristan Jackson, who's had himself a really nice camp, as well as a good first game against the Raiders. They got Jalen Naylor and Albert Wilson. So the Vikings are actually only addressing 6 wide receivers tonight. I think all of them will get a lot of work during the preseason game, and all of them have something to prove. I think that you can make a legit case for all 6 receivers. Well, ISM's obviously making the team. He's a wide receiver 4. But guys that are on the bubble are the other 5. BC, Myron, Tristan, Jalen, as well as Burt. I mean, you could make a legit case that all of them should make the 53. All of them could make the practice squad, but it's a numbers game. Will the Vikings carry 7 receivers on the active roster and 9 on the practice squad? Kind of seems like a lot, but as the Vikings are shifting to more of a 11 personnel, 3 wide team, it's not out of the realm of possibility. So we shall see. One more shout out. Let's see here. I got 10 minutes left. Do another round for where you watch from. I'll give a couple of shout outs. That's right, man. That's right. I'm sort of disappointed that we're not going to see Trey Lance tonight, but of course the Niners are sitting their top third of their roster as well, so it just sort of is what it is in that regard. But I mean, Trey Lance come back to Minnesota. He'll be back. He'll be back for the playoffs as the Niners and the wild card. I just walk into U.S. Bank Stadium, Vikings fully rested as that 1 seed. Woo! I like it, man. You like it. Predictions for who's going to start tonight. I think ISM is going to have himself a big game. I really think so. I think that he was very close to a big game against the Raiders. He had that first kick return for 56 yards that got nullified by a holding, but maybe he busts one. Maybe he busts one. Maybe he does well as punt returner. Maybe he makes some big-time plays at wide receiver. And also, it's weird. ISM and Shaw Mannion have had this odd connection, like a deep ball connection throughout training camp. So, I mean, that could be right there. Let's see, a couple shout-outs. We got Shakapoki, Southwest Michigan. We got Vegas, jealous. Hawaii, also very jealous. Seattle, meh. We got Flake, Forest Lake up in the house. Japan, the homeland. Austin, San Antonio, Norwegian, Wichita, Madison, bleh. Memphis, Tennessee, love the ribs, rendezvous. Pittsburgh, PA. Julius Grover, $5 in the super chat. Hello from Waupun, Wisconsin. Skull Vikes, what is up? Winona, Minnesota. Ooh, the real motherland. Calgary, San Antonio, sunny Seattle, Wayzata, Forest Lake again, San Diego, La Cañada. You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Also, as we wrap up here, a couple more minutes. Tell me who your who you predict is going to have a big-time game against the Niners tonight. Who's going to show up and show out. Also, a reminder, at halftime, we'll be doing a quick little 10-minute halftime show, as well as we'll do a post-game show. We'll do 10 takeaways in 10 minutes. Something like that. Something like that before we get into the winners and losers from the game. All right, so a couple more shout-outs. We got Bismarck. We got North Dakota. We got El Paso. Belgian Congo. It doesn't sound like a real place. All right, we got a couple predictions for stud of the game. Mark Butteroff, Skull from Norfolk. That's right. Kinkene, Zach Davidson, Mond. Lewisine Asamoah. Because, I mean, Ed Ingram, Lewisine, and Brian Asamoah are all day 1, day 2 selections, so they should shine against twos, right? Right. Jalen Naylor. I would love to see Speedy Naylor. Get out there, man. Wes Weingard, $1.99 in Super Chat. You should do a Q&A live series. We'll think about it. There's so many hours in the day. Tristan D, $2 in the Super Chat. Ty Chandler will have a great game. Hopefully he plays. Well, I only want him to play if he's at or near 100%. He is dealing with a minor injury right meow. Patrick Jones second, ISM. Jalen Twyman. Yeah, can we get Jalen Twyman to have a nice and juicy, 5 tackle, 7 pressure, 2 sack game? Would absolutely love to see it, man. Savage, Minnesota. I always think it's so funny when people come out of town and then they point out, you have a suburb called Savage. That's just Savage. It's funny, man. Savage is a nice area. Let's see here. Which quarterback is starting? I don't think it's been talked about. Let's give them something to talk about. 15 minutes ago, or a handful of minutes ago. Also, what do you guys think is going on with Tom Brady? I don't buy the conspiracy theory that he's on The Masked Singer. It does seem like it's something family related, so yeah, hoping for the best. But it would be kind of funny if it was something as stupid and trivial as he's on The Masked Singer or he's on MasterChef. Yeah. A couple more. Caleb Evans. It'd be nice if he had a big game. I want to see some of the rookie cornerbacks make some plays, man. I want to see Andrew Booth Jr. pick 6. How about a Caleb Evans getting after it? Maybe a Peanut Tillman type strip and run back for 6. Like to see that. Ty Chandler is Percy Harvin 2.0. I don't know if I would go that far. I mean, that's high praise, but he is a stud. Let's see what else here. Got Rock Rapids, Iowa. His kids are on Legends of the Hidden Temple. They bring that show back. I would love if that show was back, man. That was a good time show. See your under the radar predictions for who's going to have a breakout game. I actually think that Blake Brandel is going to really build on his solid showing against the Raiders. He was looking really good at right tackle. He's a left tackle by trade, but I think that he will cement his spot as the Vikings swing backup tackle. And Oli Udoh, yeah, it's sort of whatever. Schlottman, I just want Schlottman to come in and just show up and show out. Where Schlottman, he came in, TCU guy with the Broncos, came on over because he has ties with Cooper Norscotti, who came over from Denver, as well as Curtis Motkins, a run game coordinator / running backs coach. So I do want Schlottman just to cement his spot as a key backup. I know the Vikings have Chris Reed and Jesse Davis in the mix as well, but why not have 3 solid interior veterans that you trust? So the Vikings going 9 deep, maybe 10 deep on the offensive line for the active roster, 53. Having Darrisaw, Ezra, Bradbury, Ed Ingram, who's going to start. Brian O'Neill is your starting 5. And then your 5 reserves will be Brandel, Schlottman, Jesse Davis, Chris Reed. Remember, Jesse Davis can play tackle, as well as Wyatt Davis. Bring it on. Or Kyle Hinton, my guy, Washburn Ichabod. Can we have him step up again? Come on, man. Defensively, we already mentioned T.Y. McGill. I want to see, who do I want to see? Besides Asamoah, Blake Lynch. I can't quit Blake Lynch, man. Just like whenever he's on the field, he makes plays. He's constantly overshadowed by Dye and Surratt in terms of getting playing time. But I do think that Blake Lynch is a talented dude, man. Absolutely loved him coming out of Baylor. Glad that the Vikings landed him as a UDFA. Andrew Anderson, $5 in Super Chat. Skull from Pittsburgh. Also, I think Patrick Jones will have a nice game. Love me some Pittsburgh. Hey, Permanti Brothers. Where, remember as a kid, seeing there's something on Food Network about Permanti Brothers where it's like, hey, we have this really good sandwich and then we just put French fries on it. Or like, that's a brilliant idea. Who doesn't love that? Or do you guys put potato chips on your sandwich? So say you're making like a nice lunch meat sandwich for lunch. So you got your bread, you got your meat, you got your cheese, you got your accoutrements, and maybe you want some, because the reason that you do it is for texture, right? Because if it's just bread and meat and cheese, you just got soft and soft and soft. That's why people add lettuce for the crispness. That's why people add tomatoes for some flavor and some texture variation. That's why people add the chips, and then you crush the chips. Kind of hungry. See, that's why we only do 15 minutes for the pregame, 10 for halftime, and 10 for the postgame show, because we had kicked around the idea of streaming the entire game, but then I feel like I'd run out of things to talk about. We just been sitting here, it's like, you missed the kick. And then we just, I wouldn't eat on camera, because that just seems a little weird, man. By the way, we made, hey, let us know what you cooked up for the preseason game. I made some clam chowder, because... So fall days are weird, because fall days you wake up, it's it's high 50s. You're like, oh, it's so chilly out. It's gonna be a beautiful soup/chili, pun intended, day. And then it gets that afternoon and it's like high 70s or low 80s and blazing sun. You're just like, clam chowder was a bad choice. Having a hot cream-based soup, that was not the best decision that I've ever made. Greg Joseph, 60-yarder tonight. Love to see it, man. Oh. Shout out Trevor Lowe. Congratulations on the new one, by the way. Got Skull from Atlanta. Woo. John Grove making buffalo mac and cheese. Woo. That just sounds like a lot of toilet paper. But do you ever eat something where you know that it's going to be bad news for you in like a couple of hours? So I do that a lot. And, of course, being Asian, anything dairy gets a little bit dicey. But you just do what you gotta do. Where one of my favorite things out there is buffalo chicken dip. So you have like the cream cheese and the mayo and the buffalo chicken and the hot sauce in there, and then you just like stir all that up. So, sometimes you can add some sour cream if you want to thin it out a little bit, but just eating that, or the dip were queso. Well, Midwestern queso, where you got the hamburger and you got the Velveeta, and maybe add a little bit of sriracha if you're feeling a little bit spicy, like if the missus is like, and then it's just like eating that, like you know that this is just gonna be like trying to pass a brick, but it's all good. Hadrian, $10 in the super chat for research purposes. Can someone post a link for us to market, folks? I do. Here on the channel, we do not condone. We do not condone that stuff. But, yes. Also, shout out Hadrian. Top 5. Hadrian is number 5 in terms of my all-time Caesars. Number 1 is Marcus Aurelius. Number 2 is Augustus. Number 3 would be Trajan. Number 4 is Julius Caesar himself. Number 5 be Hadrian. Yeah, I think it's a fair list. Dirk Bucker. Butcher, $5 in super chat. Killing the production value. Opinions on how Twyman been looking. I think Twyman overall has been solid. I don't think that he's in danger of busting into the starting lineup anytime soon, but I think that he's making a good case for the 53-man roster. I think he's flashed enough, both in training camp, joint practice, as well as in the Raiders game, that if he is waived, trying to get him on the practice squad, maybe a team picks him up. It's possible. But even though the Vikings, moving from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and Jalen Twyman is a complete, 3-tech, perfectly built 3-tech, that there still will be a role for him. Like, absolutely there will be. There's always room for guys who get the quarterback. All right, so that's it. I'm going to wrapping up the pregame show. Vikings, Paul Allen, Pete Bursich on the call tonight. It's going to be some good times. We'll be back here at halftime for the best 10 minutes of your life.